A fish eats. A fish excretes ammonia. Nitrifying bacteria convert that ammonia into nitrite. A second colony of bacteria converts nitrite into nitrate. Nitrate is the most important driver of vegetative growth in every plant species on Earth. This process is called the nitrogen cycle. It is the foundation of a $1.4 billion aquaponics industry. And it is happening right now inside the 10-gallon tank sitting on your bookshelf. You did not build a fertilizer factory. Your goldfish built one for you. Every 2 weeks, you drain it into the sewer and buy the bottled version from a garden center. Not because the water stopped working, because the garden industry cannot sell you something you already own. Subscribe and hit the bell. Every share helps preserve what they tried to erase. 800 years ago, the Aztecs built gardens on lakes, not beside lakes, on them, rectangular plots anchored to shallow lake beds with willow stakes, canals between every row, fish swimming underneath, the crops grew on top, the fish swam below. The water moved between them, carrying nutrients in one direction and clean water in the other. No fertilizer purchased, no fertilizer manufactured, no agronomist consulted. 200,000 people fed from floating gardens. In the middle of a lake, the system had a name, Chinampas. The Spanish documented them when they arrived in 1519. Hernán Cortés wrote that the markets of Tenochtitlan were larger and better stocked than any in Spain. Bernal Diaz del Castillo described gardens floating on water producing vegetables, flowers, and maize in quantities that seemed impossible for a city built on a lake. The Spanish studied the system, measured the yields, recorded the methods, then they destroyed it. Not because it failed, because it worked without needing anything the empire could sell. 2,000 years before the Aztecs, Chinese rice farmers were running the same loop. Flooded paddies. Carp released into the standing water. The fish ate the insects that ate the rice. The fish waste fertilized the rice that fed the farmers. The rice roots filtered the water that sustained the fish. 2 harvests from one field. 0 external inputs. This was not a technique. This was a civilization. Millions of farmers, thousands of years, documented in agricultural manuscripts from the Han Dynasty, perfected across southern China, still practiced in rural Yunnan province today, 2,000 years and counting. In Hawaii, the Ahupua'a system connected mountains to ocean. Freshwater streams carried nutrients downhill through taro fields into coastal fish ponds. The fish fed on algae and organic runoff. The pond water was channeled back uphill to irrigate the next crop. Fish feeding plants, plants feeding fish, water cycling nutrients without beginning or end. An entire watershed, operating as one organism, 3 continents, 3 civilizations, 3,000 years, same discovery every time. Fish waste feeds plants. Plants clean water for fish. The system needs nothing from outside itself. But the modern world broke the loop, separated the fish from the soil, put the fish in a glass box on a shelf, put the plants in a pot on a windowsill, sold fertilizer for one, sold fish food for the other. 2 products, 2 purchases, 2 industries, 2 revenue streams. The connection between them erased so completely that a person can own both a fish tank and a tomato plant in the same room and never once realize that one is producing exactly what the other needs. Let's be specific about what that glass box is producing. Nitrogen, the nutrient that drives leaf growth and chlorophyll production, present in aquarium water at 20 to 40 parts per million in the form of nitrate. The exact form that plant roots absorb most efficiently. Phosphorus, the nutrient responsible for root development, flower formation, and fruit set. Released continuously through the breakdown of fish food proteins, present in dissolved organic form that soil microbes convert to plant-available phosphate. Potassium, the nutrient that regulates water pressure inside plant cells, controls stomatal opening, and governs disease resistance. Dissolved from the mineral content of fish food and source water. Available immediately upon soil contact. Calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, manganese. Trace elements that commercial fertilizers charge extra for as premium micronutrient blends. Present in aquarium water as natural byproducts of fish metabolism and mineral dissolution. No premium, no blend, no bottle. NPK. 3 letters. Printed on every bag of fertilizer in every garden center in the country. The 3 nutrients that Scott's Miracle-Gro packages into a blue powder and sells for $14.99. Your aquarium produces all 3, plus the micronutrients, continuously, for free. From a fish that cost $3. But here's what the blue powder does not tell you. Synthetic fertilizer is sterile, dead. Manufactured at temperatures that destroy all biological activity, it delivers nutrients in salt form. Plant roots absorb the salts through osmotic pressure. The soil biology gets nothing. No food for bacteria, no food for fungi, no food for the microbial networks that built every fertile soil on Earth over millions of years. Use synthetic fertilizer for 5 years. The microbial networks begin to collapse. The bacteria that fix nitrogen from the air die. The mycorrhizal fungi that extend root reach by a factor of 10 shrink back. The organic matter that holds water and prevents compaction declines. Use it for 10 years. The soil becomes dependent, addicted. It cannot feed a plant without the next dose. You need more fertilizer each season to get the same result, not because the plants changed, because the soil died. That is not a side effect. That is recurring revenue. Aquarium water does the opposite. It is alive, nitrifying bacteria in every drop. Nitrosomonas converting ammonia. Nitrobacter converting nitrite. Heterotrophic bacteria breaking down dissolved organic solids. These organisms do not die when they hit the soil. They join it. They integrate into the existing microbial community. They build the networks that synthetic fertilizer destroys. The soil does not weaken over time. It strengthens. The biology grows more diverse. The structure improves. Water retention increases. Disease resistance rises. Each application of aquarium water makes the next one more effective because the living system in the soil is compounding. One product kills your soil slowly and needs to be repurchased forever. The other heals your soil permanently and costs nothing. The garden center stocks the first one at eye level near the register. The second one is sitting on a shelf in your living room. Now the science. In 2016, the University of Alberta grew tomato plants under controlled conditions. Same greenhouse, same soil, same seeds, same light. One group received commercial liquid fertilizer at manufacturer's recommended concentration. One group received water from a freshwater aquarium stocked with common goldfish. 12 weeks. Controlled environment. Measured outcomes. Stem height. Aquarium water matched or exceeded. Leaf area. Aquarium water matched or exceeded. Root mass. Aquarium water matched or exceeded. Fruit weight. Aquarium water matched or exceeded. Every metric, every measurement. The dirty fish water performed as well as the commercial product. The study was published in a peer-reviewed journal. It was not cited by any fertilizer brand, not posted in any garden center, not mentioned in any mainstream gardening magazine, not referenced on any product comparison website. A controlled experiment demonstrating that aquarium water performs, as well as a $14 commercial product, was allowed to disappear without public discussion. But it was not alone. Brazil, 2019, Federal University of Lavras. Aquarium effluent tested on lettuce production. Growth rates increased 22% over untreated controls. Root development measurably improved. Leaf mass increased. Published. Ignored. Thailand, 2020. Kasetsart University. Aquarium water tested against tap water and diluted commercial fertilizer on pak choi. Aquarium water improved root development and chlorophyll content. Outperformed the diluted commercial product. Published. Ignored. Japan, 2018. Researchers at Tokyo University of Agriculture tested ornamental fish tank water on herb production. Basil, cilantro, and mint all showed increased growth rates and higher essential oil concentration when watered with aquarium effluent compared to standard irrigation. Published, ignored. Journal of Cleaner Production. A meta-analysis. 37 separate studies compiled and reviewed. Research from 12 countries, multiple crop species, multiple aquarium configurations. Conclusion? Aquaculture wastewater consistently produces crop yields comparable to conventional fertilization while simultaneously reducing environmental nitrogen loading. 37 studies. Not one, not five. 37, 12 countries. The science is not preliminary. It is not debated. It is not waiting for a breakthrough. It is confirmed, published, peer-reviewed, and ignored. So here's the question that should concern every gardener in America. If aquarium water contains the same nutrients as commercial fertilizer, if it delivers them in a biologically superior form, if it improves soil health instead of destroying it, if it is produced for free by 13 million American households, why does no garden center mention it? Why does no product label reference it? Why does no extension service pamphlet include it? Why does no gardening show demonstrate it? Follow the money? Scott's Miracle Grow. $4.1 billion in annual revenue. Consumer lawn and garden division accounts for roughly half. Their business depends on one premise, one foundational assumption that the entire revenue model is built on. Soil cannot feed plants without purchased amendments. Every bag of potting mix, every bottle of liquid feed, every box of slow-release granules, every premium micronutrient blend, sold on the assumption that the gardener cannot produce plant nutrition at home. Aquarium water demolishes that assumption, but it gets worse. Walk into any garden center and look at the organic fertilizer aisle. You will find a product called fish emulsion, a thick brown liquid sold in plastic jugs for $12 to $15. Read the label. It is processed fish waste, hydrolyzed fish protein, liquefied fish byproducts, the exact category of biological material that an aquarium produces continuously. The industry takes fish waste, processes it in a factory, pasteurizes it at temperatures that kill every beneficial microorganism in the liquid, bottles it in plastic, ships it on diesel trucks across the country, marks it up 400%, places it on a shelf next to the synthetic products, and sells it to a person who's been producing the unpasteurized, biologically active, microbially superior version in their living room and pouring it into the sewer every 2 weeks. They are selling you your own product. Sterilized, packaged, branded, marked up, after killing the living organisms that made it valuable in the first place, and the label says organic. Now multiply the economics. A 10-gallon tank with 2 goldfish produces 5 gallons of nutrient-rich water every 2 weeks. 10 gallons per month. 120 gallons per year. Enough to feed a raised bed or a full container garden for an entire growing season. Cost of the fish, $3. Cost of the tank from a thrift store, $20. Fish food per year, $8. Total, $31 once. Miracle Grow liquid concentrate, $14.99 per bottle. It lasts 2 months of regular feeding, 6 bottles per year, $90 per year, every year, forever. $31 once, or $90 every year. One purchase versus lifetime dependency. The math is not complicated, the silence is. Now scale it nationally. 13 million American households own aquariums. Average tank, 20 gallons. Average water change, 30% every 2 weeks. 6 gallons per change. 26 changes per year. 13 million times 6 times 26. Over 2 billion gallons, 2 billion gallons of balanced, bioavailable, microbially active liquid fertilizer flushed into American sewage systems every year, produced for free. Containing the exact nutrients that American gardeners spend billions purchasing in plastic bottles from garden centers, 2 billion gallons, down the drain every year. The aquaponics industry understood this decades ago, built a $1.4 billion global market around the principle. Dr. James Ricosi at the University of the Virgin Islands spent 30 years developing commercial aquaponic systems. Fish tanks connected to growing beds, water cycling continuously, fish waste-feeding lettuce, basil, tomatoes, and peppers. 0 synthetic fertilizer, 0 pesticide, 0 soil degradation, 30 years of published data. The systems work. Will Allen proved it on 2 acres in Milwaukee, growing power, one of the poorest zip codes in America, fish tanks in the basement, vegetables on the floor above, worm bins processing solid waste, water cycling from fish to plants and back to fish, 10,000 people fed per year, 0 fertilizer purchased, 0 pesticide applied, operating in a climate that freezes for 5 months. Commercial scale operations, now run on every continent except Antarctica. Tilapia producing lettuce in Wisconsin, barramundi producing tomatoes in Australia, catfish producing herbs in the Netherlands, billion-dollar industry, built entirely on the principle that fish waste feeds plants. And the smallest, simplest, cheapest version of that system is sitting on a shelf in 13 million American living rooms, producing the same nutrient solution every single day, while the owner carries it to the bathroom and pours it into the toilet. Here is what you do. Next water change, carry the bucket outside, not to the bathroom, to the garden. Pour it directly on the soil around the base of your plants. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs, flowers, fruit trees, raised beds, containers, houseplants. Any plant that accepts water accepts aquarium water. Do not dilute it. The nutrient concentration in a healthy aquarium is already at levels that plant roots absorb without risk of burn. This is not a concentrate. It is a balanced, living, biologically active solution that your fish produced by existing. Do not use water from a saltwater tank. Salt kills terrestrial plants. Freshwater only. Do not use water immediately after treating with medication or chemical additives. Wait 1 full water change cycle after treatment before using on plants. Do not use water from a tank with a bacterial bloom or ammonia spike. If the water is cloudy or smells strongly of ammonia, the nitrogen cycle has not completed. Wait until the water clears. Everything else goes directly on the garden. Every drop. If you do not own an aquarium, a 10-gallon setup with 2 common goldfish costs less than $30 from a thrift store or online marketplace. The fish live 10 to 15 years. They produce fertilizer every single day of those years. The tank humidifies your home in winter. The water feeds your garden from spring through fall. $31, one purchase, a decade of free fertilizer. 3 civilizations understood this. The Aztecs built 200,000 meals a day on it. Chinese farmers ran it for 2,000 years without interruption. Hawaiian communities engineered entire watersheds around it. A $1.4 billion industry operates on it today. 37 published studies from 12 countries confirm it. 13 million American homes produce it as a byproduct of keeping pet fish. And the only reason you did not know is that no one profits from you knowing. The knowledge was never banned, never classified, never removed from a database, never targeted by a regulation or an executive order. It was simply never mentioned by anyone in any medium at any point in the 60-year history of the modern garden retail industry. Because silence is cheaper than suppression and far more effective. No headline, no controversy, no lawsuit, no public record. Just a gap where the information should have been. and a drain where the fertilizer goes. The tank is still on the shelf. The fish is still swimming. The bacteria are still converting ammonia into nitrate. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The most important nutrient your garden will ever receive is 6 feet from your couch. It has been there since the day you set up the tank. You have been making fertilizer the entire time. You just did not know it. The only thing that changed is that now you know where the bucket goes. If this story opened something for you, subscribe and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next story opens soon.